Well, how about that? Hey, how you guys doing? It's producer from Brothers Comics. Welcome to What We Missed in Wrestling, our look back wrestling podcast. Started in 1989. It is now 1990. We are working into the WWF for SummerSlam 1990. It had a tagline or something like Untamed Heat or some dumb shit like that. On the line tonight in the real steel cage, it's Magnum BB. What's happening, man?
Hey, what's up?
Yes. Once again, a pay per view of a federation that we did not really watch. It is August of 2000 or excuse me, 1990. Where are you at in August 27th, 1990?
Uh, so at that point, then freshman year of college would be behind me. The dorm life is over. Is fully underway wrestling. I mean, a college and life,
Mm,
and probably wrestling. Definitely getting in the background here. I think the only thing that I might have been realistically watching is, although I say that, but I remember seeing the Texas Tornado in the WWF. So I don't
mm,
know. It must have been that I must have been in like oh, wrestling's on. Let me just
mm,
sit here and watch this, and then like, what
right.
the hell is this? That I'm guessing at this point that that's what my wrestling history is like, because not all of this is unfamiliar. But
Yeah, yeah, I'm back in college. Like I said, we always started in the middle of August. I'm back. My first year of college, I'm in the dorms, and the college did not have access to cable. Like it wasn't a thing. Like you couldn't. So you were, antenna ears if you even had a TV, which I don't even know that I did, except for maybe to play Sega.
mhm.
Second year, they did give the dorms access to cable, and our dorm had it. We actually paid for it, and so it would become like a natural spot for people to come because everybody didn't pay for it. So people would be there watching, whatever was on cable at the time. To be honest with you, the thing I remember watching most was with people was The Simpsons,
Mhm.
Married with Children, and is bad, and America's Funniest Home Videos. So,
Yeah, because
which is
that was would have been like the first or second of the 33-year
yeah.
run of The Simpsons. So yeah, I remember The Simpsons was like, it was crazy that a cartoon could still be like something you'd almost never seen before,
Right.
particularly primetime.
Yeah.
I distinctly remember seeing the first episodes of The Simpsons, like, what the hell is this?
Yes, exactly. Yeah,
Eat
it
my
was.
shorts.
Yeah, it was appointment viewing,
Yeah.
which is ironic because all three of them shows you technically don't need cable for,
Hmm.
because they were all like kind of regular shows. So wrestling would have had to been something that would have been on TBS or USA, and I don't remember seeing any of that then. I'm definitely in the bubble. So yeah, it's SummerSlam 1990, y'all.
Hey,
Our
you
Wikipedia
mentioned
fact,
the F word,
which one?
Federation. Uh,
Oh yeah, it's still
So
the F is
I
not
I
out.
happened to catch in this, like, there was one point where the announcer,
We're getting
who
there.
I'm just gonna not even mention that yet,
Yeah.
says World Wrestling Federation, but I always watch on captions, and it came
Mhm.
across, they captioned it as World Wrestling Entertainment. I was like
Oh,
I
that's awful.
was like,
Ugh, that's
yeah,
awful.
the edits on here are stood out to me, and there's also, I can't remember whose theme song it was, but they very clearly dubbed out somebody's theme song,
Okay.
and they must have not split the audio as well as they normally do, because it like muted, the announcers were talking over it, but you could hardly hear them.
Mhm.
So it's just funny that, like, the post processing and revisionist history, that
Mm.
that a organization like the WW, choose your favorite third letter,
Yeah.
cannot like avoid like polishing up their resume here. It's pretty funny.
We'll get to the announcers here at the end of the Wikipedia factual information because it does need to be noted and ridiculed. August 27th, 1990, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, at the Spectrum, which is no longer with us. I remember the Spectrum just from hearing
Rip
about wrestling
Spectrum.
shows. Yeah, we're hearing about wrestling shows, but like the Flyers, because I
Mm.
think it was on Broad Street. So that what the Philly or the hockey, the Flyers were the bullies
Yeah,
of
I
Broad
saw
Street.
there was a Flyers door back in one of the backstage segments.
Yeah.
There was a
And the Sixers played there too. So I mean I remember the name of the Spectrum, but it is no longer with us. RIP. And that will be a theme through this podcast as well. 19,304 people
It
in
looked full
attendance.
as fuck.
Yes, it did. And off note too, in certain situations, the crowd is hyped as hell, especially for one person that we dislike. But we'll also get to that in a second. Um, that is it. we before we get into the announcers, and I do want to do that. We got to do an RIP for the Iron Sheik. He
Yeah.
just passed away just a few days ago. Again, we don't know if he owes us money or we owe him money about this fuck Hulk Hogan thing. I think he's had a longer beef than with Hogan than we have, so we're gonna give him that. But yeah, he passes away. It's kind of hard for I think some people to remember that he was not like a freaking not a chicken face heel, but like a caricature heel,
Hmm.
like after Hogan's loss. Like where he just became like a caricature of himself, where he was a real ethnic heel there for a while, up until the point where he winds up losing the belt to Hogan. And then after that, he's a complete joke, to be fair.
Well,
Like
he
a
had
joke there.
he had a reasonable run as a tag team with
Mm,
Nikolai for a bit. I mean that's maybe they found like one other thing to do with him, and then yeah, he was
mm,
just roll out the sheet.
yes, just roll him out. I mean, I remember that. You remember, he didn't do it anymore, but doing those freaking things where he twirled them around, those weight things, like that was a challenge. Like I mean, I remember a lot of Iron Sheik stuff before Hogan ran through him. But yeah, R.I.P. to the Iron Sheik. All right, your announcers for this event, y'all. Roddy Piper, he's there. And Vince McMahon at SummerSlam 1990. Oh my God, I jizzed in my pants.
I
That
was sitting
is
there like
level.
they have please tell me they're going to throw it to an actual announce team. Please tell me this is like the hype crew, and they never did. I was like, oh
No,
my god, this is
two things.
horrible.
Yeah, two things. One, what is this thing with Vince once he comes on that he has to have formerly over wrestlers be his color? Like people that were relatively active still, we're going to see this here. We're going
Hmm.
to wind up seeing Savage wind up over
Yeah.
there as well. Like it doesn't really, it didn't make any sense because they could still wrestle. But two, to be fair, his vision that we've now realized with this $1 billion company is so like transparent now, like what he was trying to do, and you can see it, and he's just constantly, excuse me, wrestling term, overselling it
Hmm.
so that we can get what we have essentially now. But he's awful at this, and he's babyface too. When we all know that he's a freaking asshole, like that makes it even worse. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that makes it worse because we know it's like completely fake on
Yeah.
several levels.
And then what is was like, I think Piper was. Was he a baby face at this time
He
too? Like
was,
he's still
yeah,
he wrestled like a heel, but he wrestled heels, and yeah, so I guess he was a baby face.
yeah,
I think the two moves that might have actually been called in the entirety of this were drop kick and body slam.
yeah.
Other than that, it was what a maneuver. Wow. Like it was like
Yeah.
2023 Tony Schiavone level
Yeah.
insight from an announced team. I was just like, no, please, no, no. And it
It's
was
bad.
horrible.
And it's so off-putting because of what we had before with Gorilla and Jesse the
Mm-hmm.
Body, which made it even worse. And then I'm wondering, like, is this the transition? I mean, we're obviously going to see it. Is this when he full time goes in? Because you have to remember, he goes into being the primary color commentator pretty much through portions of Raw.
Yeah.
Like, by the time JR comes back, I think the second time is when they remove him out officially,
And then
and like
eventually he
he's
becomes Mr. McMahon and he can't do
yeah,
that
but
anymore.
that's way later.
Yeah.
But he like when Raw starts, he's the color commentator on that too.
Yeah.
Another reason to not watch it.
So they had two alleged colored I said colored. We
Yeah.
know Piper's only half colored.
Yes, exactly.
Two color commentators, no actual play by play, two
Yeah.
baby faces.
Mm,
Ugh, it was
yeah.
horrible.
It's bad. Like it's really, really bad. And I don't know that it wasn't purposely bad on purpose because
And
he knew like this has had to be to get it to work.
and the irony is of all the WW pick your third letter
Mm,
pay-per-views that we've watched from a format this one is potentially the least offensive,
Right.
um, because there's a bunch of short matches. The longest match is probably one of the better ones, and then you just have the worst part of this is the double main event, and
Yeah.
I have thoughts on the composition of those two matches that I'm sure we'll get into. But in terms of like it moving and not having these long pointless matches of people you don't care about, it was the least offensive in that regard, but easily the most offensive in terms of having to sit through it.
Yeah. And it's so many backstage moments, bits and skits, those things. Like it's so funny because like people, and I'll hit shit on Cornette here for a second. Like, oh yeah, like freaking Russo ruined wrestling or whatever. Like, but all this backstage bits and comedy things, like
Mm-hmm.
this is way pre Russo. Like it's
Yeah,
like not even close. Like the WWEF had their idea of what it was going to be. Russo may have like spiked it, but he didn't like create it. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So like
and
it's
the
just it's
interviews are
off the
just
charts.
really awful.
Awful.
They're clearly scripted. They're just like littered with like puns and like catchphrasy turns of saying, like
Mm.
at one point Bret Hart's like, it's two hearts beating as one. I'm like, what are you talking about? No one would say these things. And they're all like completing each other's sentences.
Yeah.
And like everybody starts to get like their signature little tick, like Jim Neidhart's all like, ah, ha, 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 every
Yeah.
other third word. It's just perfect has to say perfect like every fourth word.
Yeah.
It's awful. And Sean Mooney, God,
Yeah.
ugh,
Terrible, terrible.
he's awful.
Yep. So there's 9 total matches. Our watch along is going to be match 2, which is the Texas Tornado. Boy, that's freaking
Who's that?
yeah, Von Erich. That's Kerry Von Erich. Versus Mr. Perfect Kurt Hennig, and we'll get to that here momentarily. So let's get started, y'all. Match number 1. The Rockers versus Power and Glory, which is Hercules Hernandez, RIP, and Paul Roma. I'm assuming Paul Roma's alive. I have not heard that he's deceased or whatever. Um, Match highlights. Okay, so Wikipedia tells us that Shawn Michaels hurt his knee in a previous match, and so he gets attacked before the match even starts outside of the ring, and he's essentially spends the whole match AEW and all on the floor. We're not getting into the ring and not doing anything. So yeah, so that's that.
The
And so Marty
hilarious part
Jannetty,
was he's still overselling, like
yeah,
laying there, like his
yes,
overselling while just laying around. And he takes like one bump off the apron where he gets up laying down, and they kick him off. And it's just
yeah,
his overselling is ridiculous.
yes, agreed. Um, so yeah, hot crowd to start. Hercules has a tan. If you've been with us for a while, Hercules has been whiter than white. He definitely saw some sun at
Well,
some
it's
point in time.
summer. It's
Yeah, it
summer.
is some.
So
That's fine. Yeah. Uh, let's see. Yeah,
so for you
my note
Power
says
and Glory fans out there, I think this was like I think
this is a highlight.
Paul Roma and he who shall not be named were two jobbers that were a tag team. And then I don't know whatever happened to he who shall not be named, but then for whatever reason they thought they had something in Paul Roma, and
Yeah,
Hercules clearly wasn't doing anything, so they stuck
yeah.
them together and they were a
But to
mid-card tag team.
But to be fair, I mean, well, maybe they look good in this because one, the first half of the match, all they're doing is completely overset. Marty Jannetty is on fire to say the least. He gets
Yeah.
offense everywhere. Like he's essentially beating both of these dudes in a handicap match
I
for a
was gonna
while.
say, how are you gonna say they look good when it took them 6 minutes to beat Marty Jannetty in a handicap match?
My note says Paul Roma looks great, like physically or whatever. He does. Yeah, yeah. My note also says commentary is awful. Vince way over the top. I think that's an understatement. It's bad. He's so bad. And then there's a finisher. And then there's a pin.
Oh, their finisher was pretty sweet though.
I agree. Yes, this the
The
suplex and then
the
the with the splash off
powerplex,
the top. Yeah.
yeah, that finisher is pretty sweet.
Again, as a tag team, okay, neither one of them can talk, so they're going to be limited there since I guess they're heels. So did they have a heel manager?
Slick is
Oh,
credited
Slick.
here. Yeah.
Oh, damn.
And I'm
Yeah.
pretty
Okay.
sure that he had to like interfere for them to beat Like he had to
Did
distract the
something
referee at one
happen?
point
Yeah.
for them to defeat Marty Jannetty in a handicap match in 6 minutes. So
And then when Shawn Michaels does try to come in, he gets stretchered off. Where they attack him or whatever. Like, again, he's clearly injured in real life, so this is why you have this match to write an injury angle. I mean, it was fine. What was the time on this?
6 minutes.
Yeah, that was a lot. But the crowd loved it. Again, I hate that I have to say this. Looking back, Rockers aren't terrible.
Yeah.
They're not terrible.
Yeah.
Like they're over the top for sure. The gimmick is a rip, obviously, but they're not terrible. I think if you put like a tag team of Shawn Michaels and Ricky Morton together, would have been amazing. But Marty Jannetty is clearly better than Robert Gibson. Like it's not even close.
Yeah, but they also like they're actually built.
Yeah.
They yeah. Our hate for the Rockers was misguided and
Yeah.
really just because they were just such a ripoff.
Yeah, that's fine. But yeah, yeah, that's fine. Whatever. Fuck the Rockers. All right. Anyway, so match number 2, y'all. It is our watch along. We are getting to Kerry Von Erich versus Kurt Hennig. No gimmicks. It's an all RIP match, y'all. Kerry Von Erich deceased. Kurt Hennig's deceased as well. So you're gonna load up your Peacock and get to 15 minutes. That is both of those combatants in the ring. As you're loading up your Peacock there, Kerry Von Erich comes to the ring and what I would call a Ric Flair row.
Yeah.
Like for sure. Don't know the backstory of, I guess, World Class is out of business at this point, or if he's already being farmed off. So
yeah, I was looking at that. He was like, this was when like Memphis was trying to stimulate the remnants of World Class. So they had the USWA. Jeff Jarrett was involved. Maybe some aspect of Continental. It was just like the kind of some of the vestiges of the last territories were trying to like carve out a third kind of promotion to some degree. So he, obviously could make money in the WWE, and here he came.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's it was something else. A couple other notes that I had on here. They announced Kerry Von Erich at 254 like hell. He's huge.
Yes.
And he ain't 254. My note says the selling by Perfect as we're getting ready for this or whatever. Let's see. Kerry is just a better version of the Ultimate Warrior.
Pretty much.
I mean, that's basically it. It's the similarities are striking, and understanding that Warrior came from World Class kind of makes a little sense too. But he's really just a better version of that. 2, the fact that he's able to do this match on a prosthetic is probably pretty incredible as well. And for those that don't know, Kerry Von Erich lost his foot in a bicycle mud road, ATV accident of some sort. And he had a prosthetic.
He ran his bicycle. He ran his motorcycle into the back of a police car.
Okay.
And they had to have like huge surgery. And then they also rushed him back into the ring. And then he hurt his foot in his first match and then had to have it amputated.
Yeah. Okay.
So much like, was it Chris that they had to get back in the ring when he nearly died? So they were big on getting the Von Erichs back in the ring. And when you say he's a better version of Ultimate Warrior, we're not saying like slightly better. Like he's what if the Warrior had any talent could be. Like I don't want anyone to think that we're saying like, because I think Kerry can do all the moves and is a decent worker. By all accounts, he was never very smart. Couldn't keep track of a finish and basically had to be led. Probably like Flair's harder opponent to get through any sort of length of match. But he's not just like marginally better than the Warrior. He has the same kind of look, although not as like roid bloated. But he can actually perform in the ring. So let's just clarify that.
That's a very good clarification. Yes. If the Warrior had any talent, that was basically be what it is. Correct. All right. So let's head over to the Peacock. Again, you have to watch it on your own because WWE some bitches about their their copywriting.
I'm going to lose Peacock here shortly. It's no longer thrown in with my cable subscription.
No, that's not good. We'll have to
actually it's one of the few, like I don't know. it's of the however many
Streamers.
streaming platforms one has to maintain. It's actually the one where I seek stuff out. So I don't.
Yes.
I'm actually
Oh
paying
yeah,
for
no,
this.
Peacock got some stuff. That's for sure. Like yeah, it's not bad at all. And but yeah, Peacock is not bad.
Paramount Plus is on some bullshit.
Yeah,
Throw that out there right now.
that's for sure. All right. Peacock, y'all, 15 minutes, SummerSlam 1990. So it's season 3, episode 1. So stupid. That's the dumbest shit that they could ever do. But it's on point. And go literally to 15 minutes. We have both of our combatants in the ring. All the shenanigans have been done already. So on the 3, 2, 1 count, 3, 2, 1.
It baffles me. Like they do actually say his name,
Yeah,
but look at this. You have. I'm pretty sure Kurt Hennig was former AWA champion.
he was.
Obviously, second or third generation with Larry the Axe,
Mm-hmm.
Kerry Von Erich, legend of Texas wrestling, former NWA championship. And it's
Mm.
not, that's none of that is the dialogue. It's Mr.
Yes.
Perfect versus Texas Tornado.
Overselling.
It's
Speaking of overselling.
ridiculous.
Yes. No, and you would think that there would be something like that. But again, what I said, what Vince was trying to complete or what he completed is on display here too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no, if I didn't create it, it didn't happen.
Yeah.
I got to give them a ridiculous gimmick or something like that to say that it came from us and their prior history is nothing. There's somebody that sticks up a sign that says Texas Tornado is Kerry Von Erich. Like, not a, yeah, he just stuck it up.
And
I
talk
think you
about,
see it
I bet
again
that
later.
didn't last. And
Yeah.
talk about somebody collecting action figures. I mean, Vince
Yeah.
was, yeah.
Oh, for sure.
I don't understand the white trunks with the yellow boots. And
Yeah.
then the
Well,
warrior feet.
I didn't go back and see it, but I swear his VTR in the back, he was wearing yellow trunks.
Maybe he pooped himself.
Yeah.
Or something.
So I don't know. It's probably had to do with drugs.
His little interview was pretty funny too because he was,
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it came out, but it was like,
Not
there's
on air.
someone, there's like somebody's like talking through him. Like he might have had like the mic and was just repeating it. And I think he's just a couple weeks into the federation at this point.
Yes.
Brutus Beefcake, I think, was going to be in this spot. Who Brutus had already ended Perfect Streak at this point.
Yes, he
Didn't
did.
we
I
see
think
him
we
lose?
watched
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
So I don't know why they keep calling.
Wait,
him
is this
Perfect
after Beefcake got parasailed in the face?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
I believe at this point, Brutus Beefcake has no face. So
Yes.
they just said, "Where did they get this?" Oh no.
Yeah.
Where did they get this guy? Or some of the
Yes.
dialogue. It's like, well, huge star in Dallas, but you know,
yes, former NWA World Tag Team Champion or World Champion. You know, might have been for a couple of days, but still.
So we're still in the arm drag, headlocking, jockeying for position. Presumably, Hennig's going to cheat here shortly. We'll get some heat, and then
to get some heat. I mean, you really have to, again, make notice of this if you want to. If people want to be like, oh, arm drags, backdrops, or whatever, these things, but all of it looks like it's real. Like those punches that he's throwing are work punches, but they look like they hurt.
Yeah, and they're actually like working the arm lock, or the arm drags. They're working the wrist locks. They're actually working the moves. It's not, the quintessential wrestle. And this is only a 5 minute and some change match. Spoiler alert.
I mean, those working punches, they look real.
Oh, this is the snap over.
No, this is my favorite move.
The flip over neck snap.
Yes. But he sells it getting up, which is kind of interesting.
I mean, Perfect was. It's interesting because this was a good gimmick for him. And this, I mean, he got this gimmick over big time. But he's still he's one of the few workers in the WWF at this point. And that's where I had got to thinking the other day about if WCW was putting on the type of shows that they were putting on, but with actual stars in them, would that have made a difference? Like, could they have gotten a Kurt Hennig? Could they have gotten Kerry? Well, it's crazy. Like Kurt. Well, I mean, I guess because of the business, but you would have thought that Kerry Von Erich would have been a natural addition to WCW. Imagine him and Sting, at this point, or him, Sting, and Luger as a. Well, I guess he would have. he would have been another Luger. I mean, let's face
Yeah,
it.
but I mean, chances are, how we're look, a no sale.
Yep, no
It would have been
sell.
like a situation. Yeah, this is quick and over. This oversell there.
He actually gets the claw on him. I was surprised by
Ah,
that because that was not his finisher at all.
no.
This was his finisher, which
Mm. The
what a
spinner,
punch.
Rooney.
That's the call. One, two,
Yeah,
three. He did it.
spinner,
We have a
and
new
he's the
champion.
freaking new Intercontinental champion.
Yep.
You got to think that his reign is short lived,
He think he holds
to
it for
say
a
the
few
least.
months and then he drops it back to perfect.
Yeah, but he's not there for that long either because I think his
He's here
demons
for two
reared their
years.
ugly head. Oh,
He's here
what?
for
Really?
yeah, he's here into 92 and then 93 he bumps around a little bit outside and then he killed himself.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We're
Yeah, I
gonna
was
stop
kind of
it there.
surprised too. His run of being relevant is very short,
Hmm.
but he's
Yeah.
actually there for 2+ years, I think.
They
The
just did again
tornado
another thing.
punch.
Like, wait a minute. What was his name again?
Yeah.
Yeah. Awful. That's awful. All right. Oh, I got to
He
stop.
kind of humped him on that. That's a little
Yeah.
naughty.
Yeah. Well, hey, look, man. If they offer one of them things where I can get pinned by Rhea Ripley like that, I'm not
Come
saying
on,
no.
man.
That's all I'm saying.
Like the fold up buck
Yes.
pin.
Okay. Table pictures are $50. Autographs are 70. To get put in the buck, $2,000. All right, y'all. That's awful. All right, match number 3, y'all. It's Sapphire versus Sensational Sherry, which almost on another all RIP match, by the way, which looks like she's in blackface, but it's a cat. But if
Well, she
on
doesn't
first
even take the
glance,
mask off at this point. She still has like the modern era Jeff Hardy cover up, and she just has
oh
like silver
god,
and black paint on her neck. And the
yeah,
funny thing too is she's like in heels. It's like what?
yeah,
Well, how are you going to wrestle? I mean, I'm sure she
yeah.
could have probably worked with
Well,
Sapphire in
but
heels, but
there are men, and well, it happens a lot in when she goes to WCW and Nitro. But there's some times in this era I was like, we about to see some panties, y'all, because them dresses and them whatevers, I'm like, that's gonna get close. Like I was like, I'm like I'm watching it, like I wonder how they're gonna bleep this out, or like black this out, or cut away from this because, yeah. Anyway, yeah. I mean, whatever, whatever. There's not a lot to say. There's basically it. The match doesn't happen. Sherry wins by disqualification, count out, no show, whatever you want to call it. And everybody's like, "Where's Sapphire?" And they're
yeah,
calling her Sweet Sapphire now, by the way, which definitely is racist.
it's
And
crazy.
yeah,
There
definitely.
was at no time was there anything not racist about how Sapphire was presented.
That's fair. I have
So
another bit about that later as well. But
it's
yeah, she,
crazy the degree to which like the whole angle with Dusty and Sapphire that runs throughout the show, like how much because normally you start getting force fed Hogan pretty early, but
yeah,
he doesn't actually show up till like right around the time of his match.
yeah,
And so the real estate they give to Dusty throughout this is kind of crazy. And again, like my my recollection was always that he was they buried him and he was a joke, but other than the fact that he is in polka dots, like he's had kind of main event, like just right below the main event level
right,
storylines and angles and matches
yeah.
through everything we've seen.
And I guess if you view the WWF in the sense that, like, okay, there's a bunch of wrestlers here that are wrestling but are not in any kind of title contention, and you're okay with it, that's okay. It's just the problem is that it's Dusty, who was constantly in title contention.
Mm-hmm.
Now, knowing what we know now is because he was the booker. Like, it makes it a little bit like, how is Ron Garvin, who's now not even in this federation, how is the former world champion a referee,
Yeah,
or rugged, or whatever the hell?
yeah.
Like, it just didn't make any sense. And so you have to view it looking back like, oh, okay, this is just filling out the card. You have to have wrestlers to do certain things. It's just that they're attached with such stupid gimmicks. It just makes
Mm-hmm.
it worse. All right, yeah. So we'll come back to where Sapphire is. It becomes a whole bit through the whole time. Dusty doesn't know. I don't know, Dusty. Hacksaw. Hacksaw. You seen
Oh,
Sapphire?
that
I
was
don't
funny
know,
when
Dusty.
when he was talking to how, oh, we're gonna send out search party quad 3. What is like, what the fuck is this? Like the Boy
Yeah,
Scouts are trying to
exactly.
clean up a camp here. What's going on?
Yeah, awful. Fuck, man. Yeah, whatever. So the next match on the card is one of our favorites, y'all. Tito Santana versus the Warlord. Now there was a backstory for this too. I saw. So again, if you believe Wikipedia, so this was supposed to be the blow-off match with Rick Martel, but
No.
Martel is injured. So the Warlord is an injury replacement. So that's why. Okay. So when I read that, before I looked at, well, I already knew what the outcome was even before I watched. But before I looked at that, I was like, oh, well, shit, you fucking, it's Tito's match. He's supposed to probably win the blow off and to send him home happy. Tito should win. Yeah. No, that's not how it works for Tito Santana in the WWF.
No.
Yeah. And my note here says Tito Santana versus Warlord Goldberg, Stone Cold Steve Austin, because the fuck, like he looked like a huge Stone Cold Goldberg
Yeah.
amalgam with his head shaved off like that.
Yeah, and it's funny because he obviously they can't have Demolition, the Yellow D,
Yeah.
and the
Powers
Powers of Pain. So, but I guess the Barbarian split. So let's try and get the Warlord over as a monster. Obviously, they're probably going to try and feed him to Hogan and the Warrior at some point on a house show.
Mm.
But I pretty much I think every other time we've seen him, he's been clowned. Like he had a 12-second exit from the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
I think he probably got beat out of like one of the Survivor Series, but
Except when he
now
wrestled
he's
Tito.
their big monster and goes over
Mm-hmm.
our boy. Yeah, not happy.
Yeah, yeah, and Tito is,
Even got the flying forearm.
yeah, he got the flying forearm at my in my notes as well. Again, great drop kicks. Crowd is dead for this match completely. The flying forearm again. He gets the foot on the rope again. In the last pay per view, it was the same thing. He got his foot on the rope, and then he wound up getting fucked at the end.
Mm,
Um, yeah, the monkey flip failed. He gets pushed out to the ring. Oh, then there, and then a big power slam and beat clean.
yeah,
Clean.
yeah,
Fuck, man. Like, what the hell with Tito? Like, he gets beat clean. Not even a fuck finish. That's awful. Yeah, I can't. All right. Match. The next match on the card. Sorry. I think it's match number 6, technically. Demolition versus the Hart Foundation. Now, I told Brother Beaver before we started recording. So I get a chance to watch these matches or watch them back on weird occasions. Sometimes I get a chance to watch at work during lunch. Sometimes I get to watch at home. Sometimes it's just weird. So for whatever reason, every time this match came on, it just kept getting interrupted. I just could not finish this match. So I only got like through the first fall, but my notes are probably consistent. Demolition sucks. R.I.P. Crush, because he's the only one that's deceased of the 3, and they're trying to use the Freebird rules with fucking Demolition, who suck. R.I.P. Jim Neidhart. And yeah, I saw through the first fall. Again, we underestimated Bret Hart completely. Like,
yeah.
it's insane how bad that we did it. But also having to put over Demolition in this regard is shitty. So go ahead. What did I miss in this match?
But also like this is still Bret Hart the cartoon character. Like if you go back
Yeah.
to his promo in this, he's still very much like a WWF property at this point. So yeah, I think at this point, Axe of Demolition was having allegedly had heart issues, which I think he has subsequently refuted. And I think he's accused them of some form of ageism or something. I don't even know.
Yeah, he's
I don't.
significantly older than the other
Yeah.
ones. Yes.
And so they brought in Crush, who was Brian somebody or other, who go on to have a number of terrible gimmicks.
Yes.
And yeah, the whole thing was the Hart Foundation didn't know who was there to prepare for, and ended up being Smash and Crush. Yeah. So the first fall, they got their finisher and pin Bret Hart. I can't remember if there was any screw job to it. The second fall, the Hart Foundation gets the heart attack, but Crush breaks up the pin by attacking the ref, which is DQ.
Yeah.
And then the shenanigans start. I don't know if your notes cover that or if you'd like me to fill that in.
Yes, no, I know that we get I don't know if it's the first appearance of, but I know it's one of the first appearance of
Yeah,
a tag
definitely
team that
on
we just watched.
pay-per-view. So
Yeah.
Axe comes down to the ring, goes under the ring. This is the many. There's just a lot of fuckery in this match,
Yeah.
and he's lurking under the ring. I think at one point gets in the match, and you can't tell them apart because they have makeup on or whatever.
Mm,
And so the LOD, not the Road Warriors,
no.
the LOD come down. No Paul Ellering. The Demolition has been dodging them. They're here for the Heart Foundations. They got their back. They fight off whatever uh, demolition business, and then there's some weird, like, I think, like, Neidhart shoulder blocks over the rope somebody into a roll up, and they get
Yeah.
sort of a fluky pin. But they
Hmm.
do. I had forgot about this move. The Heart Foundation does one move where Brett would get on the ropes like facing the crowd,
Mm.
and Neidhart would grab him like in a power slam,
Oh
but
yeah,
with
yeah.
Hart's back to his chest and power slam him on top
Hmm.
of the opponent. That move is
Yeah.
great. So they did get that off. But yeah, it was 2 out of 3. The Hart Foundation is champions again. Then they have an interview. Like, then they're interviewing the Legion of Doom, and the Hart Foundation just comes out and stands in front of them and
Yeah.
cuts their promo, and they're acting like friends. And the Road Warriors are like, motherfucker, you know who we are? Yeah, they've been like, now that you got, but they were like, it wasn't like, well, now that you guys have the champions, we would like to kick the shit out of you for those
Yeah.
belts. It's no, we still have to go beat up Demolition for gimmick infringement. So
Well,
yeah,
and I'm not saying that it's there, and I haven't looked, but the next pay per view is Survivor Series. Now, again, that's 3 months from now or farther, but chances are there's a Survivor Series match with the Road Warriors, the Hart Foundation versus Demolition and fucking Mutt and Jeff or
you would
something like
think,
that.
right? That is the obvious conclusion, but I do
Yeah.
not believe that's the case. I
Okay.
think they become Team Warrior at
Okay.
at the Survivor
Oh,
Series.
God. Nah, no comment. All
There is an
right.
interesting twist on the next Survivor Series that we haven't seen yet, where I think all the people who win, then they go into an elimination match.
Mm,
So you take all the survivors, and then you take the good guy survivors versus the bad guy survivors. So,
yes. Okay.
which is
That's at
kind of
least a
cool.
decent twist. Yeah, for sure. The next match on the card, y'all, is Bad News Brown, RIP, versus Jake the Snake Roberts. Okay, so talk about knowing.
Surprisingly, not R.I.P.
Yeah, if you, yeah, yeah, the most shocking event of somebody not being dead. Um, if you listen to the end of the last podcast what we did for WCW, we were previewing this, and I was like, well, I know another match where Bad News is not going to get pinned because he doesn't get pinned. He walks
No.
out, he gets counted out. There's a DQ, and one of those happens in this match as well, y'all. And it ain't a pinfall. I mean, whatever. It's just a shit match too. You
Yeah.
know,
With,
I
for
guess
whatever reason. Oh, and now the babyface Big Boss Man is
yes,
here,
Boss Man is in like the guest referee in this match. He's Hogan's second
and
in
he's
the
lost a
pre-main
solid
event.
like 50 pounds, I think.
Yes, there must be something wrong there too. Like there's no reason for him to have not been wrestling. So I'm sure there's something wrong with him. And that's a Google search. I mean, how many more weeks or years does freaking Ray Taylor have on this month, or
Not a
Ray
lot.
Trailer have on this? But no, that's right. He's in the Nitro era though, right? Yeah,
Mm,
yeah. Yes. Ray Trailer makes it to Nitro
really?
as Ray Trailer. I believe so. Maybe he would have been Big Boss Man.
I couldn't do that.
No,
You
no, not
can't.
Big Boss. Oh, Big Bubba. 'Cause I'm pretty sure he makes it to the Nitro era. I feel solid at that. As brother Magnum BB is checking my work. Um, there's just a couple of match notes. My thing says match highlights, none. But my additional note says Big Bubba, the guest referee. My other note says black people don't fuck with snakes. At all. Like that's
Yes.
not. Don't show up at my house and don't show up at my house with a snake. That would be really bad.
The boss. You're right. He did go back to
Yeah,
WCW.
he was there, so he's got some time left. That's. I think he winds. You know what? From listening to Cornette, I think once he leaves here, he winds up in Smoky Mountain.
Huh.
I think he's in Smoky Mountain for a little bit, and whatever. But I'm pretty sure I thought I remember him being on the early Nitro era. Um, Mother note, yeah, another no pinfall loss for Bad News. He hits him with a chair early in the match, and he doesn't get DQ'd, and then you get a "Come on, boss man, get out there" from Vince
Mm.
McMahon. I can't do that voice; it hurts my throat. Excuse me. They let Boss Man do a leg drop. He didn't win, but they let him do it. Like they let him do Hogan's move. I was like,
Well,
that
but
probably didn't go well.
he is like Hogan's bitch at this point, so that could be
Yeah,
part of it.
I guess. Um, and then the crowd is dead, and then you get a
Yeah.
DQ finish at 4 minutes and 44
And
seconds.
I
It,
believe this is mercifully the last appearance of Bad News Brown in the
oh,
WWE.
okay,
Get your
yeah.
third letter.
I don't ever. If he was in WCW, I don't remember it. So, yeah, I don't remember it. I mean, I barely remembered him here, let alone
Yeah.
in WCW. So
I
he
remember
definitely.
the name, but it's
Mm.
yeah, but
A good track would be is like how because again this is about to go into a super down period in wrestling for both promotions and doesn't pick back up really until Nitro comes back or until Nitro comes in. It might be a good like run to be like, okay, so did they make it to like the Monday Night Wars
mm-hmm.
at some point? Like because Bubba does, Jake does, because Jake is the one that not before, but he's the
Yeah.
one that gets Stone Cold almost right to the point before he creates Austin 316 out of that promo against Jake. Um, so yeah, it'd be kind of interesting to see who still makes it through the era of the Monday Night Wars. Like Kurt Hennig makes it there, and we got a couple of other ones here too. All right, the next match on the card: Hacksaw, Jim Duggan and Nikolai Volkov versus the Orient Express. Um, really? Come on. Also, something to track here is also the jingoism match on every
Yeah,
WWF pay per view card.
pretty
There's
much.
always one. And then we're about to and before this match, there was a backstage or an in ring
In
promo with
ring.
Brother Love and GI Joe star Sergeant Slaughter.
This is a cross promotion for your ass.
Yeah, there you go.
Check out Brothers Comics
Yeah, Steph out
Cartoons
a
and
Cartoons and
Cereal
Cereal
podcast.
episode 2 available on all your streaming platforms. So he comes out, and this is what 6 months, 7, 8 months pre Gulf War. Um,
Yeah, I didn't cross check that. They were mentioning it. They
yeah,
made the point of like not declaring war. That was an awkward promo,
yeah,
and I don't think the crowd really knew what to do with it.
right,
And good lord, I hate Brother Love. I
yeah,
always like,
yeah.
I have come to accept that many of my recollections of this and how I felt about it have changed or were inaccurate or colored by one thing or another. And
Mhm.
I'm going to get into one of those here in a minute. But like, I have always and will always hate Brother Love.
Yeah, didn't offer much of anything, really. But yeah, he's pretty terrible, as a character, I guess. But yeah, and then Sergeant Slaughter turns heel
Yeah,
during the Gulf War.
yeah,
Like I remember that. So
yeah.
at
And
some
then
point, I
the
was
Sheik
watching.
comes out. The Sheik is his Colonel Mustafa,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Iraqi
yeah.
sympathizer. Yeah,
Yes, that's right. So yeah, yeah, and so yeah. Well, I mean, that's to be noted that definitely again the jingoism they were going to ride that out because that's the WWF. But um, yeah, this match why it was what 2 minutes, 3 minutes, or
yeah.
something
Three.
like that. You have these two
Nikolai
humongous
sings
dudes.
"God Bless America." Well, they
Yes,
both sing it, but
yes, God.
one
I
of
know
them
it says
texted.
Duggan has a tan and not in the high waist panty conceals there. He's in shape. Duggan is in shape. He is not rocking the belly like he was. So I guess that helps. But yeah, that's not great. My other note here says the irony of the United States fans cheering for Russia.
Hmm.
No
Well,
comment.
but that was, the fall of the wall and
Yeah, but they're
glasnost and
cheering
everything
for them
else.
for the wrong reason now. But
Yeah.
anyway, yeah. Let's see. Duggan's tan in shape. Let's see what else do I have. Yeah, no, that's good. I have no idea who the two Orient Express dudes are. I don't even know dudes' names
Pat
at all.
Tanaka and was it Mr. Saito?
Oh, is it okay? Yeah,
I think it was.
whatever.
They call him Sato. I don't know if that's the same as Mr.
Clothesline from
Saito.
hell at 322, essentially.
Yeah.
Pinfall. That's it. Mm, That's basically it. Yeah,
There was no
not
reason for this match to be on here other than to meet the Jingoist
yeah.
requirement.
USA, yes, just to get them fired up in Philadelphia. Yeah, I can pass in the crowd. All right. More of the missing Sapphire story. So the match next up is Dusty Rhodes versus Randy the Macho Man Savage, an all RIP match again with
Throw
Sherry
Sherry
and
in there too.
Sapphire, also RIP. God Almighty, that's all over this card. Um,
The big reveal happens first, right? And then
yes, the
he
big
has to
reveal
wrestle
happens
through it. Yeah.
first. It well, my note has says the match. Savage's entrance is longer than the match.
Yeah.
And he gets out to the ring after Dusty's already in and can't find Sapphire, and it's found out that Ted DiBiase bought Sapphire. And it's I'm gonna try to not go all the way off. I was like really hurt my voice doing that freaking Vince McMahon voice. Um, it's giving very much welfare queen
Yeah.
from the 80s thing there where you have a black lady in a fur coat with a bag of money who does nothing. So I mean again, like there's no giving wrestling the benefit of the doubt, but there's certainly no giving the WWF the
No.
yeah, there's no chance in hell that that was not a thing. And, so Dusty's upset by this. He winds up getting beat up. He gets a little bit of offense at the end, but he gets stole with a loaded purse from Sherry
Yeah.
after he gets distracted by her, and he gets pinned 1, 2, 3.
Macho Man is so good.
Yes, agreed.
Unbelievable. In his
Yes,
promo, the intensity and the seeming spontaneity with which like his gibberish filled promos come out
yeah,
is amazing. And
yeah,
he's so smooth in the ring, such
yeah,
high impact, just his quickness. He is so good.
yeah. That shit where he jumps over the rope to go down to the floor
Yeah.
when they're on the floor. I'm like, because I think he's like fucking. I'm like, why is he jumping over? Like you're expecting a dive, and it's like, no, he just jumps down to the floor like that. I'm like, yo, yeah. I, I, I know why he did it, but before he became the roided up monkey that he was at the end there, like
Mhm.
he's just amazing. Like he's
Yeah.
just no, he's great. He's great, and still waiting for that pinfall on Hogan, y'all.
Yeah, I mean they did obviously he was a star for them and I'm sure he made a bunch of money and they've had him in featured spots and he always was in some kind of angle. But you kind of wonder like he really could have led a promotion
Yeah,
and just was never going to.
no. Yeah, I mean, yeah, and again, if you believe it, he just kind of lived his gimmick,
Mm,
kind of out loud, which was fine, I guess. But and then again, Vince here very shortly with him is going to stick him in the booth too.
hmm.
I'm like, why is he in the booth? Like he has no reason to be doing commentary, other than just to make him over the top, like snap into a Slim Jim dude with the crazy outfits. Like
Well, I
that's it.
think Vince was probably also looking for like, the ideal would have been an ex-wrestler, but he was looking for a new Jesse Ventura.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't know how old Jesse was when he went to the booth, but I'm assuming Savage is fairly young here, seeing that he's going to wrestle on the Nitro era
Yeah.
himself for a while. Um, so he couldn't have been that old at this point, that he needed to get out of the ring. But you also have to think too, this era of wrestlers is kind of like the last era of wrestlers that kind of played past their prime or didn't play too much past their prime.
Mm,
You know what I mean? Like they
yeah.
didn't wrestle like well into their, like guys are now well into their 40s and wrestling and still on top. Whereas I think it was here, obviously there's the exceptions, where Flair wrestled forever or that. But I don't think like a lot of these dudes had planned to wrestle past a certain point. And again, they've been on the road 5 days a week, 10 days shows a week, like all of that. So their bodies like broke down. But now like wrestlers, because they don't wrestle that often, they can wrestle well into their whatevers, and The Rock can
Mm.
come back at 40 some odd years old, and John C. You know what I mean? Like they just come back because their bodies haven't been put through the ringer, I guess. But all right, yeah. So anyway, yeah, Dusty loses, y'all. 2 minutes and 15 seconds.
And you're right. I mean, he gets beat with a foreign object. He
Yeah,
didn't get like elbow dropped and pinned.
yeah.
But that's funny. I wonder if they ever did the battle of the elbows versus Macho
Oh,
Man.
that would have been good. I also wonder. we had speculated that this was must have been Dusty's leaving, but I don't think it was.
No, I think he's there for a bit still because he
Yeah,
he goes on a feud with DiBiase.
and he's also on the WrestleMania promos as well. And I think that's another story too. And it was in my notes. Like they're giving all the WrestleMania promos for the next WrestleMania 7, and I think at the Coliseum in Los Angeles. And I think that one actually winds up getting closed or moved because I think Cornette has told the story. It wasn't necessarily because of they blamed it on the Iraq war that they were worried about security, but I think they were having a hard time selling tickets, so they wound up moving it someplace else. I'm pretty sure that's this one. Like WrestleMania 7 gets
I
out
think
of the
that's
LA
right.
Coliseum. Yeah. Because Dusty's on the promos for that. I mean, they're promoing freaking WrestleMania in April, March, or whatever in August. So, man, yeah, that's crazy too. All right. Match next. Next match on the card, y'all. Wait a minute. What's this? Is this
Hogan.
Hogan?
Yeah,
Yeah. Fuck Hulk
the
Hogan.
start of the double main event.
Start of the double main event, y'all. It's Hogan versus Earthquake. R.I.P. Earthquake. All right. So, hmm. Okay.
Hogan with the Boss Man, R.I.P. Boss Man.
Yeah.
Earthquake with
R.I.P. the
Jimmy
Boss Man.
Hart
Yep.
and Dino Bravo, R.I.P.
Yeah.
Dino
D.I.
Bravo.
Yeah. Damn. Huh. And I think we keep being reminded that. Oh no, it's Slick is not in this match.
Right.
It's every Hulk Hogan match that you've ever seen against the big monster heel, except that it ends in a count out. That's the only. And if I look at my notes from the bottom, it's like, well, they kept Earthquake strong by
Yeah.
not letting him get beat by pinfall. However, you did kind of fuck him by letting Hogan kick out of his finisher twice.
He got two finishers and Hogan
Yes,
kicked out.
and not only did he get two finishers, he popped straight up after the second one.
Yeah. All right. So, first of all, Earthquake's entrance with that song is like
Yeah,
doom, doom. It's like the T-Rex coming out
yes,
at Jurassic Park.
mm,
So Earthquake's entrance is great.
yeah.
He did
Super
look like
athletic,
he
big
had a
guy.
full diaper
Super
on,
athletic. Yeah,
but he is great. He's of the just kind of parade of monsters that Hogan had to go through. Or I
yeah,
think Earthquake, if you're really honest about it, in terms of aspects of his performance, is near the top. So
yeah.
I kind of had an epiphany in this match, like other than like other than like I've the like you said, the end of every match being he just inexplicably pops up and delivers one of the worst finishers and wins and nobody ever gets out of it.
Yeah.
Other than that, I have actually come to an appreciation of Hulk Hogan from the perspective of like his selling throughout the
Mm.
match and also the ridiculousness of his cheating with his eye rakes and his throat attacking the throats and back
He
rakes.
he bit
Like
him. He bit him and Earthquake in this
everything
match.
up till the end, like
Yeah.
as soon as he hulks up, I'm done. But like everything up to then, I was like, God, this is like Hulk Hogan is a big Ricky Morton. Like he's ridiculous. Like his facials, and he gets that first earthquake, and he's like convulsing,
Yeah.
like his
Like,
shoulders all jacked up, and he's twitching. I was like, oh my, they don't kill the Hulkster.
yeah. And Vince is selling the hell out of it. That's it.
Yeah.
It's over. Pack up the company. Yeah.
But then, okay, so that I have to admit, like other than as soon as the Hulk up starts, then I can appreciate Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
But then the other thing hit me today is like he's always talking about like the pythons, and his
Mm.
whole finishing sequence is entirely leg based. The big boot, the leg
Yeah.
drop. Like, why didn't he ever like talk about his legs? But whatever.
Yeah.
So then I was thinking about the whole double main event thing, and I'm like, like there was this dick measuring between him, like,
Oh, for
well,
sure.
you know you can't pin Earthquake because we can't pin Rick Rude. That don't
Mm.
work for me, brother. I
Mm.
gotta kick out of two finishers. I got
Yeah.
so like it was just funny. Like they probably had to convince him that his match couldn't go on last because he wasn't the champion.
Yeah.
But then it's like he did the same thing anyway. He got his triumphant victory and his superposed down, and off we go.
Funny you should say that. So that match ended at 2 hours at 2 hours and nine on Peacock, 2 hours 9 seconds .38. The finish of the pose down and shit was 2 hours 13 minutes and 40 some odd seconds. So the match itself was 13 minutes long, but there was a 4 minute celebration also.
Yeah.
So a third of the match, what? I'm not good at math. Fourth? I don't know. Too much of this was a damn celebration at the end. There's so much bullshit in this night. Okay. So Boss Man comes in, they deliver a double clothesline on Earthquake, a double
Yeah.
boot on Earthquake, no DQ.
Nope.
Right? No DQ. You know, Bravo came into the ring or whatever. He got beat up too, but like, there's no DQ like at all in this match. Really?
The Hogan match.
Exactly. I'm like, come on, man. This is some bullshit.
Let him wrestle.
But yeah, it's just, again, you've seen all these matches. It's big monster spots. It's the same thing. Him shaking his head. Now, I don't know, what I'm supposed to do with this dude. Of course, he slams him twice. Once on a table that was probably supposed to break that didn't. And then he slammed him in the ring as well. Boot, whatever. But yes, we get the DQ or the count out finish. As they were outside the ring, after Jimmy Hart hits him with the megaphone by mistake, hits Earthquake by mistake with the megaphone, and he can't answer the count. But the kicking out of the two finishers, yeah, I was done. He jumped right up, man.
Yeah, that was as bad as the Macho Man elbow. That was like super. That was like you just buried the Macho Man. You just buried the Earthquake right here too.
Yeah,
but he then went on to pin Macho Man flat in the middle of the ring. At least Earthquake salvaged the count out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, again, fuck Hulk Hogan, R.I.P. R.I. Sheik. We get it, man, because this is bullshit. Like, how in the world did y'all even allow this to happen? I'm sorry, you could kicking out of people's finishers again. This is it's 1990. People didn't just kick out of people's finishers all the time. Like, it just didn't happen.
And this is the finish to put him on the shelf for however long. Allegedly.
Yeah, let alone two of them.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
One puts him out, but two pops him up. So like.
I did note the convulsions after the first one.
Selling, they're everything up to that point. I'm like, man, Hogan's great. Hogan's a great performer for what Hogan does, and then he just buried everybody. So,
yeah, count out win at 13-16. Let's get to the main event, y'all. It's Rick Rude, R.I.P. versus the Ultimate Warrior, the World Champion, R.I.P. as well. With Bobby Heenan, R.I.P. Now, ironically, all of them make it to the Monday Night Wars.
Yeah,
they're just all dead now.
Well, and the Warrior only made it to get Hogan's win back. I mean,
yes, exactly. But and again, I'm listening to Gornet's podcast like you as well, that he made it to the Raw era as well, maybe before the war started.
Yeah.
But he was there, for a bit as well as they tried to bring him back, and that didn't work because doustrosity, man.
Too much destrucity.
Destrucity.
He kept getting destrucity all over everything. So he had to go.
Well, you know what? Let me jump to that note here. My note here says. All right, okay. Before that, he gives a nonsense promo in the back that makes no fucking sense.
Yes.
Like, Warriors promo makes no sense. 2, how did Vince think this was going to go well? And why? Why? Say what you will about this particular person. He obviously had a finger for what would work in wrestling. For the most part, again, he's going to go into an era here where he fucks everything up too. So don't get me wrong. And I guess you could say that making Warrior champion was the start of the fuck up era. But like, how did he not realize this immediately, that this was bad?
I don't know. Like, it's almost like he looked at all the worst parts of Hogan and said, I need more of that, but younger and stupider. I need somebody that I might be able to manipulate, who's not already made in the business, that is going to get me the exact same reaction from the crowd.
Right.
I mean, that's what it comes down to.
He's like, I need somebody who has a hairline
Yeah, pretty much.
because,
He's
yeah,
like, if
like,
Hulk Hogan just could have had hair, he'd still
yeah,
be there. But
right.
no.
It just I'm like, man, how did they think this was gonna go for so long? Because it's really bad. It's really, really bad. Rick Rude, great,
Yeah.
great,
Yeah.
like great. And like I said, he's not long for this world here either, not death wise. Like for WWF, because he's gonna be headed to WCW's here pretty soon to feud with Sting.
Yeah.
So good. Rick Rude, from what you hear on other things, noted tough guy. Do not fuck with him. He gives Ultimate Warrior everything here. Like I can't believe he gives him so much
Yeah.
and sells like crazy for dude. Them checks had to be amazing. That's the only reason I could think of that.
I mean, he's main eventing SummerSlam, and I'm
Yeah.
assuming he goes on to main event the next one too.
God, man. And I guess we didn't talk about the terrible, shitty ring.
Ah,
Oh.
the cage.
Although compared to the WCW one that we just saw in the last pay per
Yeah.
view, this one actually looks a lot better.
Yeah. The worst cage is the big square cage that's bigger than the ring, and that's
Yeah.
what WCW had most recently. This one is just the regular shitty WWF cage. The whole
Yeah.
prospect of you have to get out to win the match is
Yeah.
stupid, which
Stupid.
makes the course of the match makes Rick Rude look like an idiot.
Yes, we'll get
Um,
into that too. Yeah.
yeah, so yeah, it's just bad. And at one point, I think you couldn't tell because he has the makeup on, but I think the Warrior was supposed to get color,
Oh,
and
he
like,
did.
yeah, and
Yeah.
you can see like when he kind of comes up on his knees and his hair's down, his arms, you could see him like he's aggressively cutting himself.
Oh
It's
yeah,
like,
yeah,
yep,
yeah, yeah,
they're
yeah.
great at that. Yeah,
Yeah. Rude gets color like he gets thrown into the cage once, and then he throws him into the cage a second time, and Rick Rude gets color.
yeah,
It seems like that they have pulled that camera back so you can't see it as clearly as it could and should be. But on the second time, like the Warrior throws him in there and Rude drops down, he hits the cage, and he is clearly cutting himself. Like clearly, like, and he, I ain't gonna use the term that Cornette uses when people don't get a good amount of color, but it's not a lot. But he does make an attempt to cut himself there, and yes, it's not a great. He doesn't do a great job.
yeah.
So yeah, where's my other note here for this match? Here we go. Root looks great. He has the the specified tights for his opponent, which are always great. Yeah, Rude looks an idiot in this match because there's two times where he's on the top of the cage
Yeah,
and jumps down, like
yeah,
where the dude is selling in the middle of the ring.
and like a flying axe handle off the top
Yeah,
of the, or just one arm shot off the in the snooker position. Not like he
yeah,
like body splashes him or comes, but just jumps down and hits him on the head,
yep,
and then tries it again, gets hit in the belly, then fights over the door. It's like, dude, all you had to do was drop over,
yeah,
and it's not like he was like, now I've got you at my mercy and I'm going to punish you for making me look like a bitch for the last
yeah.
2 years of run or whatever we've been fighting. It's like, no, dude, just drop down.
Help me out. Ultimate Warrior's wrestling card was shake uncontrollably one of his moves.
I think it was, or shake the
I
rope.
think it was too. It was something like
Yeah.
that, or like it was something dumb for a pin attempt.
Yeah.
Because really, that's his whole freaking demeanor is like just shaking himself like
Yeah.
continually all the time. That's it,
Honestly,
and
the
then
best part of
stomping.
the match was when Piper kept saying, I don't know what that means. Like he kept doing the pump his hands, and Piper
Yeah.
kept saying, what does that mean? I don't know what that means. And McMahon, or he's trying to channel the power of all the warriors. But what does
Uh,
that mean? Yeah, that was great.
Sure. He definitely got a dirty look for that. And I skipped it. Like, oh, so he comes down to the ring and he just runs around the ring 5 times like an idiot. I'm like,
Yeah.
first off, you're gonna get blowed up
Yep.
completely for doing this, and then two, like, who? Why is this entertaining? This is so
Yeah.
dumb.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
so dumb. Y'all couldn't control him. He'd be like, run around the ring once and then run into the ring. Like that's it. Like that's
And he
good.
and he
That's enough.
climbed into the ring. He climbed
Yeah,
over the top of the cage, if I
yeah.
remember correctly.
But to be fair, the crowd loved this shit too.
Yeah.
So this is
Because
why he kept giving it
it's
to him.
Hogan 2.0.
Yeah. but worse.
Yeah. Well, to be
Hogan is a
fair, his finishing sequence
clearly
of
better wrestler.
the press
Yeah.
slam into the body splash is a better pinning combo than the big boot and leg drop. That's about the only thing
Wow.
I can
Hold
give
up.
him.
Okay, can we just both say they suck?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
Which one sucks the least?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, that's fair.
It's a more
Uh,
the press slam into the body splash is a more
yeah.
credible finish than the big boot and the leg drop.
Hold up. I feel like Hutch. Hold up. They announced a Warrior at 225.
What?
Bitch, are you crazy?
Gary Von Erich's 250.
Bitch, is you crazy? 225? Fuck, I'm closer to that right now, and I'm not 6 foot whatever. The fuck? Oh, sorry. I had to get that in there. Sorry.
I didn't catch
And
that.
then so the match ends in the press slam. After he hulks up or warriors up or whatever the fuck you call it, and he throws him down, and there's a fight out of the way to get out the door, but then with Heenan, and then he winds up climbing over the top. I think he gives Heenan like a knee drop of some sort.
He drags Heenan in. I think he might give him like an atomic drop or something like this. But this is like post "you hurt my neck, you dumb motherfucker," whatever.
Yeah. I'll kill you. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he climbs out to the floor, and that's your
Which
winner.
is such a weak finish. Like, what
Yeah.
you just gave him your finish. Why didn't you just pin him?
Right. Yeah. That's it. And
If they wanted to show like how stupid he is, they should have had him like accidentally throw Rick Rude over the top of the cage.
it was for
That
the
would have been the
title.
finish.
Yeah. But it was for the title, so I guess they couldn't have done that. Oh God almighty. And that's your show, y'all. We have two title changes. Hart Foundation become the tag team champions, and Kerry Von Erich becomes the Intercontinental Champion. World title, doesn't change his hands. The Warrior keeps his belt. Of all of the WWF pay-per-views we've watched, though, it's bad. But again, you're grading on this curve with them, really. Like, there's a couple of okay matches, but then the rest of it is just, it's becoming sports entertainment. That's what it is. It wasn't totally sports entertainment yet, but it's becoming that.
Yeah. They didn't have as many of like the clown baby faces on this one. Like we didn't get the Bushwhackers.
Yes.
So we had that going for us. Yeah. Other than the announced team, this was one of the least offensive. Other than the announced team, and even considering that we basically got 2 Hogan matches, this is one of the least offensive that we've watched so far. I think the best one we've seen was that Royal Rumble, that first Royal Rumble, but this one is not as bad as. It's certainly not as bad as the last one we watched.
So we go back to WCW for the next one, and we kind of talked about that before, but let's go with the preview for Survivor Series 1990. So we're looking at Thanksgiving night weekend of some sort, whereas the Survivor Series of 1990 is coming up. I definitely will not have been watching any wrestling at this point, because I'm kind of curious as to what the teams are and who's left, because there's got to be people that are gone. And man, Dusty's got to be short for this world here on this one. I can't believe that he makes it that far. But you said he feuds with DiBiase, but maybe that was through the summer.
Yeah. So, oh boy. All right. So the Warriors, which is the ultimate. Oh, this is funny. The Ultimate Warrior, Hawk Animal, and the Texas Tornado.
Oh,
so there
God.
you go.
Fuck, all RIP Survivor Series team
against
Jesus.
The perfect team of Mr. Perfect, Axe, and Smash with Bobby Heenan. Oh, Axe, Smash, and Crush. I was like, where's the third?
I was about
where's
to say,
the fourth? With
yeah.
Bobby Heenan and Mr. Fuji.
Wait,
so Demolition and Mr. Perfect versus Ultimate Warrior.
Is Fuji managing the Demolition?
He managed. Maybe he was their original manager, but then they dumped him.
Okay, because he wasn't Japanese.
Yeah. Anyway. Then we have the $1 Million Team of Ted DiBiase, The Undertaker.
So Mean Mark's gone.
Yep. The Honky Tonk Man and Greg Valentine. So I don't have any idea. Oh, and then they have Virgil, Brother Love, and Jimmy Hart as their entourage. Defeated the Dream Team of Dusty Rhodes. I'm going to save this one for the conclusion. Bret Hart, Jim Neidhart, and guess who the
Don't do it.
fourth member
Tito.
is?
Tito.
No,
Mm,
you can't
Coco.
guess it. It's Coco
Coco.
Beware. There you
Yeah.
go.
So I need a nigga to pin. I know how this works. Yeah. No, I know how it works. Yeah, it was gonna be some
You
ethnic.
just go through the people of color Rolodex. He'll
Yeah.
see
Oh,
that
I
he's the right
guarantee you. Yeah. Oh, I guarantee you who getting pinned first.
guy.
That's shit. If they can't pin Virgil, damn it, Coco getting pinned. Shit. Yeah.
All right.
Whatever. Mm-hmm.
The Visionaries, Rick
The who?
Martel, the Warlord, Hercules, and Paul Roma with
That's
Slick
awful.
defeated the Vipers. This team makes absolutely no sense. Jake Roberts, Jimmy Snuka, and the Rockers.
Um. mm, uh, uh, the Vipers could be Team Cocaine. 'Cause,
Yeah,
yeah,
pretty much.
yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
that's how they got together.
That's probably it. Okay.
All right. Match number 5. It's interesting the timing here. The Hulkamaniacs,
Mm.
Hulk Hogan, Jim Duggan, Boss Man, and Tugboat.
Wait. Well, hold up. Wait. Has Tugboat already been beaten by Hogan, or is
No,
he's
Tugboat
about
has
to
not
turn?
turned yet. That's coming up.
Ah. Okay. Yes.
Tugboat was his friend, and then Tugboat I think got taken out by Earthquake.
Great
So
value earthquake. Yes.
yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Versus the natural disasters of Earthquake,
Mm.
Haku,
Mm.
Dino Bravo, and the Barbarian. So
Barbarian's
apparently the
back.
Barbarian is still there.
Yeah. Okay. That's
All right.
awful.
Oh, look at this team. Look at this team.
Mm.
The Alliance, Nikolai Volkov,
Mm.
Tito Santana,
Mm.
Luke, and Butch.
I hope that ain't the placement on the card.
That's the sixth. This is the sixth. This is the last Survivor Series match before the
Oh,
elimination.
oh, Lord have mercy. That's
And then
terrible.
they defeated the Mercenaries, which is Sergeant Slaughter, Boris Zukov, Sato, and Tanaka, the Orient Express.
Mm, yes.
And then yes, they do have what becomes a 3-on-5. Uh, yeah, 3-on-5 eliminate Survivor Series. Then the Survivor Series starts, I think, or some bullshit like that. Which actually I think is a cool idea that you take all the people who survived and
Yeah,
make them
that
fight again.
works.
So
That's
yeah, no Rick Rude. Macho Man's not on here anywhere. He might have been doing commentary.
mm,
Piper's not. Bad News is gone.
yeah.
Dusty's still here. Tornado Perfect, they're still here. Warlord's still here. Power and Glory. So yeah. So most of
Yeah.
these people.
Yeah, I mean that's a pretty decent holdover, I guess. Yeah, that's weird that Rude's gone though. Um Not yeah, that's weird that Rick Rude's gone. And I know he fused with Sting at some point in time,
Mm,
and like he's there, in WCW for a while before he winds up going back to before he gets hurt or whatever and winds up going back to WWF. Okay. Um, there is not a watch along in there worth watching.
well, maybe we can watch the final.
Mm. What's the time on that?
9 minutes.
That's good.
So the matches are 14, 14, 17, 15, 11, and then the final is 9 minutes. So
To be fair, I think they realized that having them 20-minute matches in them Survivor Series was a bad idea.
yeah.
So yeah, like 14 minutes. 14 is probably still too long now. Like if we looked at a Survivor Series from 2023, I bet them bitches is like 8 minutes long because they just don't wrestle. But like yeah, 14 minutes sounds about right for a match with 8 people in them
Yeah.
to get everybody pinned or everybody with one person pinned. Yeah, that
On
sounds
commentary, we do get Gorilla and Piper. So a mild upgrade, but
Yeah. Okay.
I
Yeah.
think
But
we
again, there's
saw
gonna
the
come a
last time
time.
we saw Gorilla Monsoon was not the best Gorilla Monsoon.
No. But there'll come a time when Wes McCall's gonna take this over completely, though. Like where man is the person on there all the time.
Mm.
And that's nothing good can come from that. I really hurt my voice doing this voice. All right.
Mm.
So that's it, y'all. We will be back with Survivor Series after we do the Great American Bash. I
That
think that's
sounds
where
right.
we were. Yep. And I remember the card wasn't great either. It was actually, I think it was okay. But nah, fuck, I'm just seeing that Undertaker's out. Like we got one pay per view with Mark Callis, and then
Yep.
that's it. And he's already gone. Like no more than what 3 months later, he's out of there, which is pretty interesting. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, it didn't get enough chance to even think about trying to shine there. They just didn't see it, and they got rid of it. That's terrible. That's beyond poor management. Again, he might not have become whatever he became in WCW, but he definitely could have done better than mean Mark Callis or
Yeah.
something. So especially
Man,
over three
the
birds of price
bash
over
is
there.
long as fuck.
Who?
The Great American Bash is long as fuck.
Give me the rundown.
Brian Pillman and Buddy Landell,
Ugh.
Mike Rotunda, the Iron Sheik,
Mm,
Doug Furness and Dutch Mantell,
mm,
Harley Race and Tommy Rich,
mm.
Midnight Express versus the Southern Boys. I think that's a legendary match, but
Yeah, that's
Vader and Tom Zink,
mm-hmm.
Steiners versus the Fabulous Freebirds, Paul
Fucking
Orndorff, Junkyard Dog, Elegante versus Sid Vicious, Arn Anderson, and Barry Windham, Lex Luger versus Mean Mark,
mm. That's his.
Doom
Yeah,
versus the
that's his
Rock and
exit match
Roll.
probably.
That sounds like a talent clash.
Yeah,
Doom, Rock and Roll, and then Sting and
I,
Flair.
I, without don't even tell me. I don't have Wikipedia up. Don't tell me. Doom versus Rock and Roll. Is anybody a champion in that match?
Yes,
Doom, right? Doom
yes,
World Tag Team Champions.
yes.
That's a DQ finish. Rock and Roll win.
Well, we'll go with that. Well, guess we'll have to stay tuned and see how that goes.
Oh, fucking teasers. All right. All right. So as we cross the 1 hour and 15-minute mark, it's a perfect time to stop. Yeah. So we'll be back with that like sooner than later, more than likely, as we get through 1990 here. As we, scrolling through these pay-per-views, some of it's been good, some of it not so much. So
Some of them been passable, some of them been awful.
yeah, yes. Some of them are kidney stones. Some of them are,
A nice 3 coffee dump in the
yeah,
morning. Yeah.
exactly. All right. So if you're listening on the podcast version, you'll hear the WCW Saturday Night Music playing us out. I'm the producer of this podcast. You can find it on SoundCloud, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, all those places. Just put in Brothers Comics. Podcast will come up. And I'm going to sign off. Magnum VB, sign off.
All right. I hope you enjoyed
Yes.
another average passable WWE.
Yeah, yeah. If nothing else, if people that listen to this, if you should probably just skip through the stuff that we say, like just skip it. Don't bother. Like if we start off with highlights, none. Just skip to the next match. Nothing that you're going to see about this. Like I was talking to some dude, I was previewing this on Twitter, and he was like, I was like, I think it was the Warrior. I was just like trashing, and he was just like, man, I really like the Ultimate Warrior. He's like, of course I was 9. I'm like, yeah, I would have liked him too if I was 9. I was like, watch that shit with some adult eyes. You're not gonna have the same opinion about it. Like,
Yeah.
don't like you are not going to have the same opinion about the Ultimate Warrior as an adult. You're gonna be like, oh my god, I was stupid.
Yeah.
So,
Misspent youth.
yeah, you just don't do it. All right. So the music plays us out. I'm the producer. I'm signing off. Good night, everybody. Say good night,
See
brother.
you. See you.
Bye, everybody.